I'm gonna put some timestamps in this in the description of the video. If you are only interested in the experience, you can click there and jump right to it. I'm gonna talk a little bit about the setting, then about my experience, about the difference to ayahuasca, which also contains DMT, but it's totally different. I also heard that if you smoke normal DMT, is very different to 5-MeO DMT. This happened after the night of ayahuasca, and I made a video about this experience. You can find it somewhere or in the description. So in the morning we had breakfast. It was still only me and the two facilitators. They told me that more participants will arrive in the evening. So we had breakfast, and one of them went to buy groceries, and the other one and me, we made this Bufo Alvarius ritual. So she prepared the mattress, and the mattress was completely empty, without anything on it, and she folded two blankets and put them on both sides of the mattress to kind of create a bigger space. And I was wondering, like, why is that necessary? But it was necessary, and I'll get to that later. Then she told me that to have a really powerful experience, it is important to fully surrender. And to explain a little bit what she meant, I'm gonna share with you an experience I had on a festival like a year ago or so, with changa. Changa is are herbs infused with DMT, and you also smoke it through a pipe, and it has a very different effect than Bufo Alvarius, but it is also about surrendering. And on this festival, I didn't really feel that safe, so I couldn't really surrender. And so I smoked it. I laid on the grass. I kind of just laid there and had all these colors like flying towards me, and it was crazy colorful and overwhelming. But I felt an inner resistance, like it was too much for me in this moment, so I blocked the experience. So I knew what she meant by, you have to surrender and like really let everything go and just accept it and be open for it. And she explained me how to, to take the hit from this little glass pipe, that I have to breathe in, and then even more, like even if I think I'm completely full, like a little bit more. And I sat at the front of the mattress so I could fall back, and I took the hit. And when you breathe in, then the effect already starts. And I was, doing as she told me, like a little bit more and more and more. And then I fell back, closed my eyes, and I didn't even realize that I hit the mattress. I was already completely in another dimension. It was so crazy. And how I would describe it is, time slowed down and stopped, and there was just nothing. It was like this vast empty space, like in the universe, where the next star is 10 million light years away. It was so crazy, this feeling, and I didn't feel my body. I didn't feel my breath. I didn't feel my heartbeat. I didn't even know who I was. I didn't have any identity anymore. And what happened then is I kind of had this feeling I was drifting away further and further from reality. Reality just didn't exist anymore in this realm, in this dimension. But then after I don't know how many seconds or minutes, but there was this voice in my head, and this voice was like, hey, if you go further, maybe you'll never come back. And at this moment, I started thinking, and I got scared a little bit. I got afraid, and I was also afraid of dying, because I couldn't feel that I'm breathing, and I thought maybe I stopped breathing. And so I took a breath, like consciously a little bit, and then I could relax a little bit again, because I knew, okay, I just got some oxygen, I'm not going to die. And I shared that with her before the experience, that I kind of have this concern, and she told me, you don't have to worry. And I knew that this on a logical level, but if you don't feel your body and that you're breathing, like, how can you know? And so this kind of took me back a little bit, and but I was still in the same dimension and floating inside space. Kind of felt like an encounter with death, because there was just nothing. And at some point I realized, like, oh, my throat is really dry, and I got clearer and clearer in my head again, and I got this feeling, and then I took a really intense breath, like, and I could feel the air coming in my body, and then I was reborn. Then the process started. It took a few minutes, and it was absolutely insane. I got the feeling that for the first time I get air in my lungs, and like it was like I was like a little baby, and my muscles would just contract, and I would roll around and breathe really intensely, yeah, like being born, and not freshly born in this way that we sometimes use it, like, yeah, I'm so energetic. It felt like a baby that is just coming out into this world, and yeah, so intense, this experience. And then after, I think it was like 20 minutes or so, I opened my eyes. She told me before that, like, hey, leave your eyes closed if you want to get the most out of it. And yeah, then I opened my eyes after 20 minutes. I landed back in this reality, and I was just completely overwhelmed what I had experienced. And then I looked at her, and tears were running down my face, and she looked at me as if she did know exactly what I have experienced. It was a profound experience. And then she gave me something to drink, some water, and told me, like, hey, just enjoy this feeling and stay there in bed. It takes some time to process. So yeah, I just stayed there, and I was like, wow, I am back, back on this planet. I'm still alive. And kind of, yeah, what did I just encounter? What was that? and I felt extremely present, aware. And after, I don't know, 10 minutes or so, I looked outside the window, and I really wanted to go out and touch the grass and breathe in the fresh air. And I asked her, hey, can I go outside? And she told me, like, hey, it's still really early, like after the experience, wait a little bit longer, because it can be too much, you know, all the sensations from the outside world. And so yeah, I laid there, and she started cooking, and I got more and more hungry. And then we had lunch, and oh my god, it was amazing. It was like eating for the very first time, you know, the flavor and the food in my mouth. Yeah, that was really cool. And then she told me, like, hey, you can relax a little bit more until the new participants come in the evening, and we do another ayahuasca ceremony. So I went upstairs in the room. I recorded a video where I just shared the first impression, basically, and then I slept. And then I slept, and I woke up after a few hours, and I heard a man talking downstairs, and I thought, oh, okay, I think those are the new participants. And a few moments later, someone opened the door, and it was like, police! And I was like, what is happening? And they were like, I was under the blanket, and they like, show me your hands, like really slowly, and then get up. And I didn't have to get up, but I sat upright, and he was like, is this your stuff here in the room? And I was like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna have to take a look at it. I was like, yeah, sure, go for it. And another one came in and asked me if I took anything today, any substance, and I told them, yeah, Bufo Alvarius. And they're like, oh, what is that? And I started Googling it. And yeah, then after a while, they said I should come downstairs, so no one has to stay in the room with me, because I could, I don't know, hide something or whatever. And there were a lot of policemen in the house. They even had a dog at the beginning, I think, to look for explosives. And then I went downstairs and sat on the couch, and the two facilitators were being questioned at the table, and I just sat there and kind of enjoyed the moment. I mean, that's how it was. It was really interesting to see how they work, and you know, some of them had a really negative attitude, like, we're, I don't know, doing something extremely horrible, heroin addicts or whatever, and they knew nothing about any of this. And they were talking to each other, like, how do we handle the situation now? Do we take them all to the station, or only the facilitators, or whatever? So yeah, I mean, this whole weekend was over then. I was sent home. And during the time they were here, the new participants arrived, or some of them, and yeah, just run straight into the arms of the police, and also had to show their identity and everything. So yeah, there was this experience, and yeah, about the difference with ayahuasca. So ayahuasca, the active substance, is also DMT, but the effect lasts way longer because of other ingredients, and it's very, very different. The main difference is, if you take ayahuasca, you still know who you are. And ayahuasca is really gentle. It shows you things, it helps you. And Bufo Alvarius, the 5-MEO DMT, also showed me something, but yeah, it's a very different experience. And it's also very interesting that a lot of people who take 5-MEO DMT have a really similar experience. So that's astonishing, because with ayahuasca it can be completely different, and with a lot of other substances like alcohol or cannabis, every experience is very different, and also from person to person. And with 5-MeO DMT, yeah, a lot of people get to experience kind of the same state and this encounter with death, or okay, I think I got everything. If not, I'm just gonna cut it on the end of the video. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message or write a comment. And yeah, that's it. Have a good one. Peace.